Please like, share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.
What's up guys, Grandmaster Dan Boshko here again with the second part of our videos about how to get the maximum out of your attacking pieces. This time we're going to talk about the brother of the knight, his older brother, his bigger brother, and this is the bishop obviously. Well, these two, they are very different, so they are more or less not from the same family, but they still have a lot of relations and they are considered to be equal, but in reality they are quite different. Let's start with a couple of examples, with a couple of demonstrations by the bishop, what it is capable of. And this very first one, you have the black pieces. This might be your puzzle rush today. So if you have seen it already, great for you. Excellent job. It's a game by Harry Nelson Pillsbury playing with the black pieces in a symbol. And first of all, what he does, he's blocking the long diagonal for the opponent, and then he's seizing the diagonal in order to deliver checkmate. Bishop can deliver checkmate on its own, and this is what we're going to see in the next example as well. For this one, you will definitely need more time, so it's white to move. You can pause the videos and you can try to solve it on your own. It's a very nice study. And yeah, the one with the extra rook would definitely like to give it a try to win this one. The first move is pretty obvious. It's the move d7, which doesn't allow black a chance to promote to a queen because the first one to start the checks in this situation, as a rule, is the one who is winning the game. And here, white attacking with the queen, the bishop, and the rook should definitely checkmate the opponent. So therefore, after d7, black should go king e7, and now comes this nice ambush with rook b8. The idea is d8 queen, and once again, black is deprived of the chance to promote to a queen, because after d8 queen check, he is forced to take it, but then there is this covered attack, and on king c7, white can take on f1 and then take on h4. His g-pawn is very fast, or even easier, he can take with the g-pawn and the h-pawn is getting promoted by itself, so white is definitely winning this one. However, after rook b8, black can be tricky. Since it was that nasty little pawn which ruined his life in the previous line, he can take on g3 now, and in the process, he's hitting that rook on b8. That forces white to make a decision. Those of you who have seen the move king g3 have committed a mistake. The point being that after f1 check, in comparison to before, this time the king is sticking to the opponent's rook, and even though you have a bunch of discovered checks in this situation, they are not leading you anywhere. It's going to be a draw. At some point, you will have to take the opponent's queen, or just repeat the moves, and this is going to be a draw no matter what. However, he is tricky. We can be trickier. This is our thinking. So we go rook to a8, and once again, we are stopping him from promoting on f1, or at least it seems so. So we will still promote to a queen, and after king takes f8 and bishop a6 check, bishop b8 this time might be a little bit of a shocker for us. What exactly is he trying to do with this bishop? It's not very obvious until after we take on f1, and notice that rook b8 and king c7 is already a familiar drawing line, so don't go for it. After bishop f1, he goes king c7, and it all comes now to its places. It seems like we are losing our rook, which has been trapped by these two nasty little pieces. Okay, we can stop this for a moment with the move bishop a6, but he's going to deflect our bishop. Bishop needs to go back, and we are trapped. Is this the end of it? No, it's not. You already know that in the previous example, the bishop likes to get on the long diagonal, and here it is. It is getting the long diagonal, and just like in the previous example, this mating construction is working perfectly fine. From that position at the beginning to this one at the end, it's been a long way, but a beautiful one. If one bishop is dangerous, you can guess what two will be capable of. And here, white to move, plays the move d4, attacks the bishop on e5, which moves immediately to f6. And that's a very sad moment for white, who missed the chance to deliver checkmate at the opponent. I'm pretty sure you see it, so that's why you don't have to pause the videos. It's this capture. No, it's the other one on g6. Queen g6, and after takes and check on g6, that's also mate. The two bishops have taken all the squares away from the opponent's king. We often use the bishop in order to plug in the way out of the opponent's king, and this is what white should have done in this situation. Instead of playing the move queen g8, which let the king out, and eventually black survived, in this situation, white could have gone for bishop b4 check, and after c5, the point would have been not to take it with the pawn, which is not that bad as it seems, but there is an even better move. Taking with the knight is going to force matters, defend the bishop on e6, threaten this double check in mate, and ultimately force the capture on c5, which after bishop c5 is sealing the opponent's diagonal for the king. There is no way out, and queen g8 is going to be checkmate. We're going to talk now about those situations in which we are winning some material thanks to our beautiful bishops, and this is one of those situations. You have the white pieces, you can pause the videos and have a look at what can be done here. Often, everything you need to do is to prolong the diagonal for the bishop, and this is what white should have done here with the move d6. That bishop will have to either move, but if it moves, then white can play the move d7, or even easier, check and take the knight on the other diagonal, or black is forced to take on d6. When they take with the knight, however, there comes knight d5. The threat is to take the key defender on e7, followed by bishop d6, so the bishop will have to move, ultimately. Then we chase it away again from the good diagonal, and once that it is chased away, we jump on e7 exactly, precisely on the square, so that once that the opponent takes with the queen, bishop d6 is hanging two of the pieces on the same diagonal, and we're winning material because of that. In this one, we have the black pieces, so you feel free to pause your videos and try to find it. Often, what we want to do, the only thing that we want to do, especially when we have long diagonals in our disposal, is to try and to break them open for our bishops. And for that, aim here, the move rook d to f8 would have been a great idea for the second player. He's sacrificing the pawn on e6, yes, but at the same time, he's creating the unstoppable threat of a sacrifice on f3. After the queen recaptures, there comes knight e5, and thanks to this bishop, which is controlling the long diagonal, black is launching decisive attack. And it doesn't really matter where the queen goes, we are going to jump with the knight on f3 with decisive attack afterwards. So if queen f5 or queen e2, you name it, there is knight f3 check. And we can regain the rook anytime that we like, but what's more important, this king is always going to be very, very weak and mated. And speaking about cooperation of the bishop with the other pieces, just like the knight and any other piece, it is very, very good for team play. It can be used for opening the opponent's position, as we have seen it, and meeting the opponent's king, but it might be also used in order to enable the access of your remaining pieces to the opponent's king's position. In this one, we have the white pieces. And pause the videos again. The first move is pretty obvious. There is an open file, so black is having trouble on the open file as long as we use it directly. The queen has no other square but the one on g5. And here, the best idea for white would have been to attack the queen this way with rook g6. It's an amazing move, which is possible thanks to the bishop on c4, which is preventing the capture on g6 with the pawn. So this pawn is pinned. And if the queen takes on g6, then it is getting exactly where you want it to be. So speaking about the cooperation between the brothers, this is it. White is winning the queen. Last but not least, speaking about the perfect cooperation between the pieces, one shouldn't forget that the bishop is partnering in a very good way with the rook. And this is something that Svidler used in this very, very famous game, very recent and very famous game, in which he defeated no one else but Mr. Magnus Carlsen, the world champion himself. So first of all, he gave a check. And since Magnus didn't want to self-pin his bishop with the move bishop f8, and rightly so, there'll be bishop c5 and he'll be losing material immediately, he decided to run with the king on h7, but Svidler banged the move f4, which is not very obvious move. What exactly is he doing there wasn't very obvious until he took on h6, paying tribute to Magnus himself, who once won a game in a similar idea. The point being that if the king takes, rook h8 is mate, and this is where we see why the pawn on f4 was so good and so important, whereas if he takes with the pawn, then the bishop together with the rook, combining their efforts, they're cooperating in a great way, and therefore white is winning the game. So this is everything about the bishop. Thanks for watching this. Leave a comment if you like. See you next time.